Hello everyone, welcome you all to EduPortal. So the long wait is over. That is the exam WBPSC AE Civil Recruitment 2020 is over, which was conducted on 29th of November 2020. So I hope your exam was good. So in this video we will discuss the solution of the questions in detail. Okay. So total 100 questions, we have divided it into 4 parts, that is each part containing 25 questions. Okay, so we will do detailed analysis of each and every questions here. Okay, so this is part number 1. So now we will move on to our first question. So let's get started. Okay, so question number 1 is quicksand. What is quicksand? So quicksand, we all know, it is not a type of sand. It is a condition. It is a flow condition and occurs mainly in cohesionless soil. So cohesionless soil is there, and it occurs most likely arise in silt and fine sand. Okay, and when it occurs, if the upward seepage pressure becomes equal to the submerged weight of the soil, then effective pressure reduces to 0. So sigma effective that becomes 0. So in that case there will be quicksand condition and sand loses all its shear strength. We know the formula for shear strength is equal to S is equal to C plus sigma tan phi. Now in case of cohesionless soil, C is equal to 0. This is sigma effective. Okay, now if the effective stress becomes 0, if this becomes 0 due to the upward seepage pressure, then S becomes 0. That is the shear strength of cohesionless soil becomes 0, and this is the quicksand condition. Okay, so option C is the correct answer. Okay, now in case of cohesive soil, C S is equal to C plus sigma tan phi. Cohesive soil, C not equal to 0. So even if sigma E, that is effective stress, is equal to 0, S doesn't become 0. Okay, so it doesn't occur for cohesive soil, it occurs for cohesionless soil when it loses all its shear strength because of upward flow of water. Okay, so option C is the correct answer. Now next question, find the development length of reinforcing steel of diameter D under compression for M30 grade. Under compression is important, and Fe 500 TMT bar. Fe 500, that means HYSD. Okay, so these two important points are there. For HYSD bar, deformed bar, that bond stress should be increased by 60%. Okay, which is the tau BD. Tau BD is the bond stress. This should be increased by 60%. And for bars in compression, it should be increased by 25%. Okay, so here the two conditions should be applied. For HYSD, 60% is increased. For compression, 20% is increased. So we will use this formula. We know phi is equal to D here, diameter. Sigma S is equal to 0.87 into Fy is equal to 500, that is Fe 500. Okay, so so sigma S is equal to 0.87 into 500 MPa. Tau BD is equal to 1.5, it's given. Now putting all of this in this formula, D 0.87 into 500 for 1.5, 1.6, that is due to 60% increase, and 1.25, that is due to 25% increase, and the answer becomes LD is equal to 36D. So option B becomes the correct answer. Okay, so this is done. Next, question number 3. Minimum edge distance in bolt connection specified by IS 800 should be maintained to avoid. Now why minimum edge distance is provided? See here, a joint may fail due to tearing of plate at an edge. Okay, and to avoid this we provide sufficient edge distance. Okay, otherwise this kind of failure will occur. So this is the edge. Okay, so this is the edge, and from here it fails like this. Okay, so edge distance is provided so that tearing failure doesn't occur. Okay, so here option D is correct. Okay, now this is done. Question number 4. Very easy question. When a vehicle traces a horizontal curve, it is subjected to centrifugal force. This is centrifugal force in the outward direction, so option B will be correct. And it would be if in case of centripetal force it is inward directions. Okay, so that's not the question here. Here the question is centrifugal force, so option B will be correct, that is outward direction. Now next question is lack of fit. This is a very good question that have been asked here, very important question. So for lack of fit problems in a truss, the truss is at least. Now what is lack of fit problem? Lack of fit is an occurrence in truss in which there is a difference between length of the member and the distance between node. Suppose this is one node, this is one node. The distance between them is 5 meter. Suppose the length of the member available is 6 meter. So it should be shortened so that it can be used within 5 meter. Suppose there is another bar of length 5 meter. Okay, so its length should be increased so that it can be fit between these two. Okay, so this is a problem or occurrence which occurs in case of truss when the difference between the node not equal to the length of the member. Okay, now this happens because the connection of member is either too short or too long. Here it is too long, or here it is too short. So in case of lack of fit, the member is forcibly lengthened. So here for 4 meter it should be lengthened or forcibly shortened to fit the truss which develops stress. Okay, so so this member should be shortened. Okay, now the main thing is a truss is said to be internally indeterminate. Okay, so when a truss will be said internally indeterminate, when it has exactly 3 reaction component, that is R equal to 3. Why exactly 3? That means degree of external indeterminacy equal to R minus 3, that is equal to 0. So externally it is externally determinate, so option C is wrong. Indeterminate externally, no, it is determinate externally. And number of more than 2j minus 3 members. If m is equal to number of members, okay, and 2, so then m greater than 2j minus 3. If this condition occurs, if this is condition 1 and this is condition 2, then it will be internally indeterminate. Now let's see, here are two trusses. Here the number of members m is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number of joints is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4. So 2j minus 3 is equal to 2 into 4 minus 3 equal to 5 is equal to m. Okay, equal to 5. That is, it implies m is equal to 5. So these two are equal. So here m is equal to 2j minus 3. So it is, and here reaction R is equal to 3. So it is externally determinate and also internally determinate. Okay, so both the conditions are satisfied. Now in case of, so it is statically determinate structure. Now in case of statically determinate truss, any lack of fit in a member of statically determinate truss will not introduce any stress in it. Okay, why? Because here it will adjust itself from slightly different triangle with a very little change in the geometry. Okay, so in case of determinate truss, it will adjust itself. Okay, and with very little change in geometry, so it will not cause any change in length of the member. Okay, so because no change in length of the member, so there will not be any stress introduced here. Okay, so lack of fit problem is not suitable for statically determinate truss. So here option A is correct. Okay, now A is wrong, sorry, Option A is wrong, C is wrong. Okay. Now internal indeterminate trust. Introduction of a redundant member. Okay. So here it is determinate. So here DB member. This member is redundant member. It will cause a displacement of joint of truss, causing the change in length of all the members. Okay. So this is here M is equal to 6. 2j minus 3, as in the case of previous problem also it will come like this, so it is equal to 5. So M greater than 2j minus 3. So here we have shown that for indeterminate case M greater than 2j minus 3, internally indeterminate, so here M greater than 2j minus 3 and R is equal to 3. So it is internally indeterminate structure, and here a redundant member will cause change in length of all the members. This will cause strain in the members, resulting in stresses or axial forces in the member. Okay. Now these axial forces are not caused by any external load. Okay. So no external load is there, but only a redundant member is there. So it will not create any reaction at support. So it will be externally determinate. Okay. T E is equal to 0. Externally determinate, but internally indeterminate. So in case of internally indeterminate truss, so this is a very good question. So internally indeterminate truss, lack of fit problem is provided. Lack of fit problem. Okay, so very good question. So option B is correct. Internal indeterminacy. Okay. Now let's move to the next question, and it's given as ion exchange process, zero hardness. Okay, now we know hardness is due to multivalent cation, presence of multivalent cation, metallic cation, and that is due to presence of Ca++ and Mg, calcium and magnesium ion. Okay, calcium and magnesium ion. Now it has two: permanent hardness, that is due to carbonate hardness, bicarbonate hardness, which is removed by boiling, and one is it is temporary hardness. Temporary hardness is removed by boiling, that is due to carbonate and bicarbonate, that is due to HCO3. Okay, which is removed by boiling, and another is permanent hardness, which is due to presence of chloride, sulfate, etc. Okay. Now in ion exchange process, calcium and magnesium ions are removed by sodium ion. Okay, so it is resin, sodium resin. Okay, so here the sodium ion, after this sodium ion is replaced by calcium ion, which the calcium ion is present in water. Okay, in water calcium and magnesium ion are present as hardness. So when resin comes in water, they are replaced by calcium and magnesium ion. Okay, so ion exchange takes place. Okay, so as a result of ion exchange process, zero hardness, so all the calcium and magnesium ion are displaced by sodium, and this sodium ion all the calcium and magnesium ion in the water, okay, they come at the resin. Okay, they comes in contact of the resin, and sodium ion is replaced by calcium and magnesium ion. Okay, so the displaced sodium ion passes through the resin bed and out of the softener, and the water becomes soft. Okay, this sodium ion goes out of the softener and water becomes soft. Okay, and the calcium and magnesium ion that was present in the water, that comes in contact with the resin, and it replaces sodium. Okay, so water becomes soft, and there will be no calcium and magnesium ion present in the water. Okay, so it will be of zero hardness, because hardness is due to presence of calcium and magnesium ion. Okay, so ion exchange treatment, option C is correct. Now next question is troubles at the site of trickling filter. Which of the following sewage treatment method has inherent problem of odor, ponding and fly nuisance? Okay, so in environment engineering, if you have read the trickling filter properly, you will find these three things very easily: odor nuisance, ponding nuisance and fly nuisance. Odor nuisance is due to anaerobic decomposition. Ponding nuisance is due to the voids of the trickling filter are filled up and choked by heavy fungus or suspended matter. Okay, that is ponding nuisance. And fly nuisance, it is a major trouble small moth-like fly breed are developed at the sites. Okay, so these three are found in trickling filter. So option C is correct. Now next question is very easy question. Given what will be the longitudinal stress. So for thin cylinder we know this is the hoop stress PD by 2T, and this is the longitudinal stress, that is the half of the hoop stress, that is PD by 4T. So option C will be the correct answer. So it has asked for longitudinal stress. Okay, so next question. This is easy. If you know the rise and fall method and the formula, that is sum of backside plus sum of minus sum of foresight is equal to last RL minus first RL. Okay, so you need to use this formula to solve this problem. So what should be this? So this is sum of the backside, this is backside, this is backside. So make a sum of this. Okay, so this will be this. Okay, actually this is minus this because this is minus because it is minus given. Okay, actually this is positive, but because it is minus, so it is minus here. Okay, so here this minus this back summation of backside minus summation of foresight, last RL is this, that is R, and first RL, that is 100. Okay, if you use this formula you will easily get RL of R, that is 101.455 meter. So option C is correct. Okay, now next question is, when a chain of designated length L, so here nominal change of the length, that is L, and actual length is L dash, so actual length L dash, and the true length of the line will be, so correct length will be, so it is equal to length A, so L dash by L into the length reported, this. Okay, into the length reported to be measured. Okay, so L dash by L measured length. Option B is correct. Next question, projectile, very easy question. We have done this in class 12. So for maximum range, the angle should be 45 degree. Option B is correct. Okay, I hope you all know this. Next question is Howrah Bridge. Very good question. I hope you have done this. Okay, so this is very famous, Howrah Bridge. So just go through this information, and it is suspension type balanced cantilever truss arch. So it was opened in 1943, a unique bridge, one of its kind in the world at the time, and the bridge was officially declared as or classified as suspension type balanced cantilever bridge. Okay, so option C is correct, cantilever with a suspended span. Very good question. Okay, so option C is correct answer. Okay, next question is, so this is very easy. The beam loaded like this, we need to determine the bending moment at this point. So first determine the reaction at this point, that is RB, and then reaction at this point, that is equal to RC. Okay, so RB is equal to 4W, RC is equal to 4W in the upward direction. Bending moment at E, that is the midpoint. So let's take this point at E. Okay, E. So bending moment at this point is equal to, we know, W x into x by 2. Sorry, W x into x by 2, that is equal to W x square by 2. So we have done this here only, W into x square. So 2 plus 4 by 2. So this is 2. This is 4 by 2. So 2 plus 4 by 2, that is whole square by 2. Okay, plus RB into 2. This is RB into 2. This distance is 2 meter because it's a midpoint. So doing this you will get bending moment at E is equal to 0. So option C is the correct answer. Option C is correct. 0. Bending moment at midpoint. Next question. So ordinary rails, every year they ask 1 or 2 questions from rails. So, and very common questions are this. And so this year also, and it's also a question from bending moment, BMC, building material and construction, also from steel. So so option D will be correct, high carbon steel. Okay, so why high carbon steel? Because it has high hardness, high strength and low ductility. So high carbon steel has the properties of very high strength extreme hardness and resistance to wear, so which are required for a railway. Okay, hardness is required, strength is required, and resistance to wear and tear is required. Okay, so that's why high carbon steel is the correct answer, and option D is correct. The question number 15 then. So general shear failure for an isolated footing, that is in sand, it decreases with decrease in the intergranular spacing. So intergranular spacing decreases means it is so from dense to loose. So if intergranular packing of the sand decreases, it becomes loose sand. Okay, so here it will decrease general shear failure. So you can see from the curves. Okay, so for general shear failure it will decrease. So it will decrease because intergranular spacing of the sand is decreasing. Okay, decreases with decrease. Okay, so option D will be the correct answer. Okay, this is from general observation. Okay, from dense sand, that is over consolidated clay is regarded as dense sand, and normally consolidated clay is regarded as loose sand. So on that basis this can be concluded. Okay, now next question is the action of negative skin friction. Okay, so negative skin friction, we know in case of firm soil, when the soil is firm, no relative movement, but in case of weak or compressible soil, friction will be in the downward direction. Okay, in general there is no relative movement when the soil is firm, but in case of weak soil, friction will be negative and it will be in the downward direction. So negative skin friction is a process where skin friction acts in downward to the soil, so it decreases the pile load capacity. Okay, also known as downward drag. This is a major problem in some sites. So because it is it acts in the downward direction, it decreases the pile load bearing capacity. Okay, so reduces the allowable load on pile. Okay, so option A is correct. So option A is the correct answer. Reduces the allowable load. Negative skin friction pile. Negative skin friction in pile. Okay, so next question is epicenter. This is easy question. The point on the earth's surface directly above the point where an earthquake originates is called. This is epicenter. You all know epicenter. This is the point. Okay, epicenter is the point on the earth's surface of the earth directly above the underground point called the focus, where the fault or rupture comments. Okay, and producing earthquake. So here the fault or rupture comments or produces earthquake. So the point directly above the above this point on the earth surface is known as epicenter. Okay, so option C is the correct answer. The next question is a reflux valve, easy question, also known as check valve. You know its working principle. This is open one directional flow. A check valve or a non-return valve or a reflux valve is a valve that normally allows the fluid or liquid or gas to flow through it in one direction. Okay, it allows the flow in this direction but doesn't allow the flow in this direction. Okay, so you can see closed, you can see open. Okay, so one direction. It is also called check valve, reflux valve or check valve. Okay, so option D is the correct answer. Next question is to produce the corrosion resistant steel CRS, which element is added? You can see copper, so copper will be the correct answer. Okay, so for corrosion resistant steel, copper is required, so option D is correct. Now next question is, this is another very good question, in a 4-span continuous beam. Okay, so 4-span continuous beam, maximum Hawking bending moment at the support B. So this is the B support, suppose. So next to the end support from the left, the position of live load should be. So here one theory is here, and I think you should know this. If you don't know this, and if you want to know the detail of this and all the other conditions, just write me in the comment box. I will make a separate video for that. Okay, so here just for this case I will tell this live load should be placed for maximum Hawking bending moment at a support in a continuous beam. Okay, so live load should be placed spans adjacent to the support. So spans adjacent to, so here one more span will be there. Okay, so spans adjacent to the support. This is adjacent span, this is adjacent span, and plus alternate span, Okay, so here you can see this is the support, this is adjacent span, and this is alternate span. So option C is correct. So for maximum bending moment, hogging bending moment at a support, this support for maximum hogging bending moment, here you need to have live load at adjacent span, that is at left span and right span, and then alternate span. This is alternate span. So option C is correct. Very good question from again. This is another very good question. Okay, so option C is the correct answer. Next is find the force in the member QR. Easy question. QR you need to know. So look at joint S. This is P, so this should be P. Okay. Now, so this member will be a zero force member. Okay. So now you need to just analyze this joint. Okay. So you can see the analysis. Analyzing this, we get if RQ is equal to P. Okay. So P will be the answer. So force in the member QR. Force in the member QR is P. So option C is the correct answer. Okay. Next question is curvature correction to a staff reading of differential leveling. I hope you all know leveling corrections. One is curvature correction and one is refraction correction. And curvature correction is minus 0.0785 d square, where d is the distance in kilometer and cc in meter. That is curvature correction. So it is always subtractive. Always subtractive. Option A will be correct. And other things are that refractive errors, refractive correction or refraction correction are positive, and total correction is negative. Okay, so here it is the negative. Option A is correct. Next question is camber in the highway is provided to, look, water flows there and then flows through the drain. Okay, so this is drainage. So camber is provided to take care of drainage. So option B is the right answer. Now next question is, okay, this is another good question. A symmetrical footing is resting on a linearly isotropic elastic soil. Okay, then the transfer of is provided to transfer the concentric load from the column. Assume that the footing is perfectly rigid. Okay, the distribution of the pressure at the footing will be. Now we know what is the contact pressure. Contact pressure is defined as the vertical pressure acting at the surface of the contact between the base of the footing and the soil. Suppose this is the footing and this is the soil. So the contact pressure here at between the base of the footing and the soil is known as contact pressure. Okay, this is the pressure, and it depends on the type of footing, okay, and the elastic properties of soil. Okay, the actual contact pressure distribution, however, depends upon flexural rigidity, that is flexible footing or rigid footing, and elastic properties of the subgrade. Okay, that is cohesionless soil or cohesive soil. Here it is said that linear isotropic elastic soil. Okay, so linear isotropic elastic soil is there, and in that case it will be the contact pressure distribution will be elastic properties of soil. Okay, so here according to the assumption for it will be distribution of contact pressure is uniform. So option C will be, this is the correct, this will be the correct. So uniform distribution. Why? Because it is a perfectly linearly elastic isotropic elastic soil, so it can be assumed that the footing is resting on a uniformly spaced spring. Okay, so because of that the distribution of contact pressure is uniform. Okay, otherwise in case of cohesive or cohesionless soil or rigid or depending on rigid or isolated footing, the answer will be one of the four. Okay, but here because it is linearly isotropic elastic soil, so here this will be the correct answer, uniform distribution. So option C is the right answer. Okay, so now another question is damage due to alkali aggregate reaction. Now see, aggregates are more or less chemically inert. Okay, but some aggregates react with alkali hydroxide and causing expansion and cracking. Okay, because of the expansion and there will be cracking of concrete, that is due to alkali aggregate reaction. Why this occur? This occurs when the cement having high alkali and reactive aggregate. If the aggregates are inert, then there will not be any reaction, but the cement should have high alkali and there should be reactive aggregate and moisture. Okay, so in that case the alkali aggregate reaction will be there. As a result, the product form will cause its expansion and cracking. Okay, so this is the result of alkali aggregate reaction, and causes due to cement with high alkali reactive aggregate and moisture. Okay, so option D is the correct answer. Okay, so here we conclude our discussion. We have discussed question from 1 to 25. In our the next set we will discuss the question from 25 to 50. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed this video. Okay, if you find this video helpful, please share with your friends. Okay, so we will come back with our next video very soon. Till then, have a nice day. Goodbye.